Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon, let's get to it. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys. Happy Friday. How are we doing over there?
We're doing good.
Judgment Day is upon you.
Oh.
It will not be long until you're going to have to burn that ghost mask, that phony goat mask. You're going to have to burn it at the stake.
Why?
It's going to be over for your man.
It ain't going to happen in the first round, though.
Probably not in the first round. Maybe in the second round.
Oh, no, it ain't happening in the second round.
Skip,
Yes.
You are fired up. We got lots to talk about. All right. Packed show. We begin with, yes, the playoffs. LeBron and the Lakers are officially in the playoff field after their win in the play-in game against the Warriors. But if they are going to win their second straight title, LeBron's ankle is going to need to hold up. LeBron said after the game on Wednesday that his ankle is good, but ESPN reported that we need to be concerned about LeBron as he's playing on one leg. The King won't get any sympathy from the rest of the league as the Nets' Big Three is looking to bring a ring back to Brooklyn, while the Clippers appear to be the biggest challengers in the West. I know Skip has plenty to say there, but Shannon, I start with you. Who wins each conference and who is going to win it all? Tell me.
Well, I always felt that once the Nets got James Harden, it was going to be difficult for someone to beat them since they have three guys. And if one of those guys are having a bad day, you still have to worry about the other two. They have three guys that can legitimately go get you 50 on a given night. And if need be, all three can go get you 30. There have been very few teams in NBA history had that kind of firepower in a given time. And so for me, I don't see how, unless something unforeseen happens, unless the 76ers and the Bucks combine their two rosters and Joel Embiid and Holiday and Middleton all of a sudden get with and Giannis get together, that's the only way I see someone beating the Nets coming out of the East. So I got the Nets coming out of the East. As Jenny said, I wish LeBron was healthy, but we are where we are. I don't believe he's 100% healthy. I don't know how you get 100% healthy.
The report is he's playing on one leg.
Well, I know that leg is having had that injury, Skip. It takes a long, long time for you to come back to where you feel like yourself. And we saw some instances the other night, Wednesday night, Skip, that he just couldn't get the elevation. He couldn't get the lift. He missed a lot of shots right around the basket, Skip, that he never missed. That fall away step back, that was the shot that you, Skip, remember he was at the Knicks and he hurt his groin and the guy blocked at the last second. It was a very similar situation to what we saw Andrew Wiggins block, because normally that step back is money. We've seen him bury a lot of teams with that step back, haven't we, Skip?
Well, like the Raptors or the baby dinosaurs.
No, that's Skip. And we saw him hit the Celtics with that also.
Yeah.
But anyway, Skip, so for me, I don't feel as confident as I once did. If you told me LeBron was 100% healthy, I'd like, well, Skip, it ain't no-brainer. It's the Nets and the Lakers. I'm still going to ride with the Lakers because I still believe that LeBron will be healthy enough. Is he 100%? No. But I need Anthony Davis to be AD. I need him to be that AD that we saw against Phoenix. Now, I'm not saying, Skip, he needs to get me 40, but I need him to be that aggressive. I need him to be that decisive. Don't hesitate. Don't wait to see where the double team's coming from. Get the ball and go. I'm going to need you on the block a little bit more than what I've seen. And stop hovering around the three-point, shooting threes, shooting jumpers. Get your butt down on the block. Hey, Drum, clear it out. Okay, Drum, go stand in the corner. And we'll be okay. So, Skip, I'm going to say I'm not as confident. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to say I'm a 7. LeBron was 100% healthy, I'll be a 1,000, not a 10, a 1,000. So I'm still going to go Lakers and Nets for the simple fact I still believe in LeBron, although I know he's not 100%. But it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be, and I'm not so sure, Skip, they might have to go 7 games in all 3 rounds. So they might play 21 games before they even get to the finals. And then it's going to take a lot out of them. But I'm going to go Lakers. I'm going to go Lakers and Nets.
And you have the Lakers beating whom in the Western Conference Finals, please? This is a tough one for you.
It really is, Skip. Because if the Lakers win, who do they play next round?
Portland.
Portland. Oh, you already got
Portland over Denver. Portland.
Oh, you already got Portland in the round.
Give me the dollar.
I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say they beat the Clippers.
You gave the Clippers that much respect.
Yeah, I think
you have them in the conference finals.
Yeah, well,
so you got Lakers over Clippers in 7 at Staples?
Yeah.
Okay. to get to the Nets, and then you got Lakers over Nets in 7?
Yeah, I got Lakers over Nets in 8.
In 8, okay? Or maybe they've changed their format like the NFL.
Yes.
They've added an extra game, right?
Because we might need to go an extra game just to win it. But I'm gonna take I'll take the Lakers in 7.
Okay, my turn. I am not backing off 1 inch. I'm exactly where I was before this season started. I am taking the LA Tankers to win it all. I'm taking Pandemic P to lead the Tankers to the championship. They were ridiculed for tanking their last 2 games.
You Clippers? You taking the Clippers?
Yes, I'm talking about the Tankers. That's what you call them, the Tankers, right?
Yeah.
You ridiculed them. Chris Broussard called them, what, yellow fever? He said that they're suffering? Yeah, okay. I'm sticking by them. I got Clippers over Lakers in conference final. I got Clippers over Nets in the NBA finals.
What?
Now, before I tell you why, I got to get this out of my craw and off my chest. Here we go again. They're doing it again. Rich Paul, Maverick Carter, you are genius at what you do. I love both of them. I truly do. I think they are extraordinary. They are top of the field in what they do for LeBron James. He should drop to his knees every night before he goes to sleep and thank the Lord above for those 2 men running the show for him that's around him. And it is a great show because they are gifted at what they do. But they're also gifted at making excuses for him, at planting excuses either before or after the fact. And here they go again. So Marcus Spears, who I have great respect for, is reporting, and I don't know this for a fact. I'm just educated guessing that they got this from either Rich or Maverick. Probably from Rich. He's genius at what he does, at dropping little tidbits, you know how this goes, on key opinion makers that LeBron is this or LeBron is that. Don't tell him that you didn't hear this from me, but. And so now LeBron is, quote unquote, playing on 1 leg. Well, it's a beautiful move ahead of the playoffs because you've set up LeBron perfectly. If he fails, well, he was playing on 1 leg. If he wins, he's a hero. He won the championship on 1 leg. That makes him the quote unquote GOAT. It's genius.
Can I ask you a question? When was the last time we saw a historically great player be on a minute restriction come playoff time?
I have no idea. I don't really care.
Never.
Oh, never?
So that should let you know.
Come playoff time, well, maybe Michael Jordan in his 2nd year in the league when he hung 63 on the Celtics at Boston Garden, coming off a broken foot. He'd only played his last 7 games of the year.
If you look at it, the man played like 40-plus minutes because they went to overtime.
But again, he never had a minutes restriction when he was hurt. No. I'm back to now. Michael is beyond LeBron in durability because I thought LeBron was the most durable superstar ever until lately, and now he's playing on 1 leg, and it's been like 2 months of ankle.
But here's the thing, but I have a hard time with you. You quick to display of whether or not LeBron and the extent of LeBron's injury, but you take Michael Jordan at his word that he had 117 fever. But you believe that?
I don't know. I don't know how to do. I've never even talked about the flu.
I don't
talk about it. I don't make a big deal.
He was 100. He was just 100. Did you see him?
I don't know that. And in fact, Tim Grover, who we had on the show the other day, said, remember, during the Last Dance documentary, that it was just pizza. It was like an overnight bug that he got from bad pizza. Right.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really a flu game. It was just a stomach bug game.
But y'all hyped it. Y'all told me
y'all didn't hype it.
You had to get chicken noodle soup. But see, my thing is, all I'm saying is that you gave Mike the benefit of the doubt where you're not willing to give LeBron the benefit of the doubt.
Well, you know how flu bugs are. You get it. It's like 24 hours, sometimes 48 maybe, but he was fine.
But you were willing to give him the doubt that he had the flu. That's my point.
I don't know if I've ever even talked about this game in our lengthy history together. I don't talk about the flu game. I talk about what he did to Brian Russell in Game 6 at Utah, the shot of shots, holding the pose. I talk about that.
My God done that plenty of times.
Plenty of times? Yeah, to win championships? When has he ever done that? Has he ever walked off a championship shot? No.
First of all, that was not a walk-off either.
Well, it was close. Stockton had a heave at the buzzer.
Okay,
but it was close enough. It qualified.
My guys do walk-offs.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, you remember like Orlando?
With like a minute left.
No, Orlando.
Okay, that was
Indiana.
One. I'll give you one.
In Chicago.
Okay.
The baby dinosaur.
Michael did 9 of those. in 320 fewer games than your guy.
What?
Way to go. Congratulations. So here we go again, and you love this. You're just secretly relishing it because you're off the hook. And so now you're saying, well, he's like 85%. I don't know.
Have I said it?
Have some guts. Have the courage of your convictions. Is he playing? What does the Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe lecture me on a daily basis? If you step on that field or you step on that basketball court, you are healthy. That's what you say. No excuses. Am I right?
You're right, but Skip,
the biggest excuse has been planted once again.
No, I said the expectations from the people that are watching you, if they see you out there, is that you're 100%, although you may not be. But I've been very clear, Skip. I said he's going to probably be somewhere around 85%. I haven't deviated from that.
Okay, so these guys are masterful at their media manipulation, and many of the key opinion makers are just puppets on their strings. And I remind everybody, it started back in LeBron's first go-around in Cleveland, which ended disastrously. Games 5, 6, and 7 against Boston. You know what happened. LeBron flamed out, or was it 4, 5, and 6, I guess? It ended in 6. So it was 4, 5, and 6. So he flamed out. And the next thing I know, everybody at ESPN is reporting, via Rich and Maverick, that LeBron had to be sedated because he had a locker room issue with a teammate. He had to be sedated for the last 3 games. So he's playing under sedation. That's the equivalent of playing on one leg, right? That might even be worse. It's the whole idea of, I'm seeing 3 rims right now. Should I pick 1, 2, or 3? I'll try the middle rim, I guess, right?
He saw 3 rims.
He's playing sedated, and I had to fight back on that. Stop it. Give me a break. That was the series after which the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers accused LeBron of quitting on the team. Do you remember that? He just quit.
But Skip, you know when people are hurt, they say all kinds of things. Skip, you know good well LeBron didn't quit on that.
When they got swept, which was it, 2017 finals, LeBron shows up after the sweep game, and he's got a soft cast on his hand. And I'm assuming via Rich or Maverick, we heard that, he broke the hand after game 1. It would have been 2018, actually, because it was game 1 at Oracle when I told you LeBron had the shot. Just take the shot on little Steph Curry to win the game, and he passes to George Hill, and then the J.R. Smith blunder occurred. And allegedly, according to sources, LeBron was so angry after the game, he broke his hand in the locker room hitting it's the chalkboard, they call it the whiteboard, right? And he hit it so hard, he broke his hand, so he's playing with a broken hand through the next 3 games of that finals,
I'm not so Skip. I'm not so sure. Look, if he did broken hand, whether it was broken or not, I don't know.
Okay,
it doesn't. For me, Skip. Even if they win game 1, they're losing in 5. So does it make you feel better that LeBron, instead of getting swept, he lost in 5? It doesn't for me.
How do you know that? Why would you give up on your man? You call him the GOAT. What if you sting them in game 1? You stun them in game 1 at Oracle in their house.
The best team will always win a series. The best team. That's why football is so much more difficult to win a title, because every game is a game 7. So you lose 1 game, I still get 4 more cracks at you if need be. In football, it's over after 1. So, LeBron, I'm going to give him that game. So they lose in a gentleman's sweep. They lose 4-1. Come on, Skip. You know that.
Okay, all right. So 15% excuse has been planted now.
It ain't no excuse.
And now I'm going to give you 2 legit excuses, because speaking of Marcus Spears, he also reported that he had a conversation with a NBA scout, one of those great off-the-record, insightful conversations in which the scout told him exactly what I've been telling you for like 6 months on this show, that the Lakers are going to miss Rondo and Dwight Howard. Rondo because of his leadership experience and his mental toughness in the playoffs, playoff Rondo, and Dwight because just his overall effectiveness and fit, what I call his edge, that you have missed all year at the center position. So he was crucial in moments, in stretches, given matchups in the bubble last year with you guys. You don't have either one. I think you missed JaVale a little bit too, because he was so long and played with such edge.
Well, Skip, I'm not saying that we don't miss Rondo, because Rondo was content. Rondo was not trying to get a max contract. So Rondo played within himself. You watch Schroeder. These last couple of games, Schroeder's trying to get a max contract. And that's why Vogel took his butt out of the ball game.
That is correct.
He was not in the finishing line. Carolina.
Caruso was.
Caruso was, because Caruso understands in this situation, I don't need to be the CEO.
Okay.
I don't need to be the CFO. You know what? I just need to be the teller. And so some people need to understand the job description at the time that you're seeking employment. So for me, and I give you that. Dwight Howard because Dwight Howard is a supremely more defensive player, better defensive player than Drummond, he understood the little nuances of things that he couldn't do. The thing that concerns me about Dwight, Skip, is that he always going up to the line, and sometimes Dwight went over. And you always had to like, okay, Dwight, enough, Dwight, enough. But I think the thing is,
gave you a little bit of a physicality edge that you don't have anymore.
We'll get it back. But see, here's the thing. The Warriors is a bad matchup for Drum because they don't have a true. You had Drum trying to guard Toscano Anderson, or you're going to put him on Draymond. That's not a good fit. Well, now he has Ayton to bang with. He'll have, let's say, Nurkic to bang with, or he'll have Jokic or Rudy Gobert. So those are more favorable matchups for him because they have traditional centers, unlike Golden State that's playing with a lot of positionless players. But don't you worry about that. You just worry about what your little team gonna do. And we already know, because, they ain't in the bubble now, and, he get to go home to his family, and he feeling good.
We're talking about Paul George.
I ain't talking about nobody, I'm just saying.
Who said yesterday, it's a big difference from the bubble life to where I am now in headspace standpoint, because he does get to go sleep in his bed and be around people who love him.
If you don't mind me asking, when he got swept his last year in Indiana, he went 5 of 21. What was it? Were they playing in the bubble?
No.
When he put that 5-piece on Utah, when Russell had 44, and he shot like 2 of 13, 2 of 15, and had 5, a good spade hand. Was he in the bubble? When he took that L to Portland, was he in the bubble? See, I got a problem with this. And there's a lot of other guys over there talking. We're in a really good space. Were you in a good space when you beat Dallas? Yeah, you were in a great space when you had that 3-1 lead. Nobody mentioned anything about headspace. Nobody mentioned anything about the drama inside the locker room when you're up 3-1. It was only when you got chased down. Now, man, I couldn't see my girl, my kids. I love my kids. I'm not saying he doesn't. But it wasn't a problem when you had a 3-1 lead. He didn't mention any of that. I didn't hear anybody talking about guys know their role. Guys are accepting of their role. We got a new coaching staff. Nobody mentioned a thing when you're up 3-1 in the Western Conference Final. It wasn't until you got, the divisional.
Yes.
The divisional round. You ain't been there long, never been there. But anyway, so don't do this, Skip. I'm not going to let Paul George. I'm not going to let Marcus Morris Sr. I'm not going to let them off the hook, because all the things that you're mentioning now, you never mentioned when you had a 3-1 lead on the Nuggets. You never mentioned it. It wasn't until they chased your sorry butts down that you started talking crazy.
Pandemic P will turn back into playoff P when necessary.
Hold on. Now you gonna call him playoff P. You call that man George Paul for the better part of 6 years, and now you gonna ride with him.
When he was a pacer.
He still, hold on. All he did was change uniform. Skip, if you take a silverback out of the Congo and put him in the zoo, he's still a silverback.
He is now a complimentary star to a 2-time finals MVP who will lead this team to another championship.
And hold up. You talking about the guy that had 20 points twice in the last 13, 14 games?
But
that
he's
guy?
healthy for the first time in a long time.
So why was he sitting down there? So why did he rest if there was, you see what you did?
Yep.
Now you say Ty Lue rested his team because of health. You give them the benefit of the doubt that they were injured and they needed rest. But LeBron James, Maverick Carter, and Rich Paul, they're planting seeds that LeBron is injured. You see how you give everybody else the benefit of the doubt about an injury, but not go James.
I don't need any excuses, and that quote you're referring to was from Marcus Morris, and I'm going to read it back to you right now in its entirety.
Please do.
Because it's all about what it's about to be all about.
Go ahead, read. Talk to me.
Marcus Morris, if we could see this, please, said yesterday of the Clippers, whole different team, different coaching staff. Energy's a lot better. Camaraderie's a lot better. Everybody wants to be here. Everybody is playing their role in the right way, and we all have one goal, and we are all committed to it. Everybody wants to be here. You've got one guy who did not want to be there last year, and his name is Montrezl Harrell, and good luck with him.
Hey, hold on. It seemed like it was 2 guys, because PG said he had a problem being in the bubble.
Okay.
Oh, so it was Paul George. But hold on, Skip. Why didn't he release that when they have a 3-1 lead? I'm just trying to figure that out. That's all I'm asking.
Now we have an elevated new coach, Ty Lue, who once directed LeBron James to a lucky championship that he won.
See, now he's lucky.
Thanks to Steph Curry's flame out. But Ty Lue is at the helm. They needed a different voice, just a different mindset, a different point of view, and they got it. And by the way, Chauncey Billups, the great Chauncey Billups, Mr. Big Shot, is also on this staff now. And the great Larry Drew is there to bring that experience, that bedrock experience to this coaching staff. Kenny Atkinson was the Nets coach for the last 4 years. He knows the Nets inside and out, obviously, how it works. He is now on this staff with Jerry West overseeing. It's time for the Clippers to break out and break through.
I don't have a problem. I love Ty Lue. I've known Chauncey Billups since he was in high school with the George Washington.
Because of Denver.
In Denver. So I know Chauncey. I know Chauncey well. Skip, I ain't got no problem. The problem that I don't have a problem with the coaching staff. The problem that I have with all these guys chirping. Nobody said anything about being in the bubble when they were up 3-1. Nobody mentioned camaraderie. They didn't have a problem with guys might have been upset with their roles, and nobody said a thing.
Whole different team. Three-headed monster. We now have Serge Ibaka. We now have DeMarcus Cousins, who's turned back into Boogie. And we still have Big Zoo, once a Laker.
But what happens, Skip, is that now it's easy to start from scratch and says, okay, we're a whole different team. But let me ask you a question. Had they gone on and been as successful as you would hope they would be, do you believe they would have mentioned anything like this? That Paul George wanted to go home and sleep in his own bed? That Marcus Morris Sr. would have said anything about camaraderie and about guys playing their role? If they won the championship, would they have said anything?
Well, they would have needed to, but the point was they didn't win. They flamed out.
So in other words, they're using that as an excuse why they took the L. That's all I'm saying, Skip.
Something needed to change because they were just annihilating Denver up 3-1.
How about Paul George not hitting the side of the backboard? How about Kawhi Leonard scoring more than 6 points in the fourth quarter? How about Marcus Morris Sr. stop tripping people and pretending like he didn't mean to do it? How about that? Does that need to change?
Just watch and weep as you watch, because you're going to see a whole different mindset and approach and attack. And by the way, these Clippers led the league in three-point shooting. Your team finished 21st in three-point shooting. This team, the Clippers, led the league in free throw shooting, led the whole NBA in free throw shooting. Your team finished 28th in free throw shooting, which is the Achilles heel of the guy on one leg, LeBron James.
So let me ask you a question. Y'all finished first in three-point shooting. You finished first in free throw shooting. You had one of the best offenses in NBA history, and the best you could get was a 4th seed? What the hell is going on?
Mustard seed, as you say. It just doesn't matter. Give us any seed. We're ready to go.
We're the 7th seed.
You ready?
No mercy. After coming up short in the 7 versus 8 play-in game, Russell Westbrook would not be denied a playoff spot last night for the 8th seed. Westbrook finished the game with 18 points, 15 assists, and a plus-minus of +30 in the 142-115 win over the Pacers. And after the game, Scott Brooks had high praise for Westbrook's performance. Take a listen.
Russell has an edge to him, guys. And I think the world should appreciate that. He gives you everything. He's a hooper. And sometimes he's an angry hooper, but he's a hooper that just plays the right way and plays hard. But I knew he wanted to come back better.
Little edge. Shannon, how much of a shot do you give the Wizards against the 76ers round 1?
Skip, I think they're going to get a couple of games off them. I really do. I think they'll take two games. Skip, I mean, now I see why they scored 142 last night. They had a 133 game, a 154 game, a 132 game all against Indiana. And that's because when you allow a team to shoot 58% from the floor and 50% from three, you're probably going to give up that amount of points. But what happened, what we saw last night, Skip, is that Russell played near the rim. Everything he got was coming downhill. And when he only had 8 rebounds, 7 on the defensive end. So it allows him to get out and push the ball. So now it ain't no passes. Rush is in a hurry to get, and everybody, what was it? Layups, dunks, layups, dunks. Even Robin Lopez had like 5 or 6 of those little swoop hook shots. Bradley Beal was very efficient. Russ was the only guy really that didn't shoot 50% from the floor. He was 6 of 13, which was great.
Yeah.
The other great stat by Russ, Skip, how many 3-pointers did he attempt? 1.
That was the stat of the night. That was the most important Wizard stat. He only tried one and he missed it, but it was only one.
Yes. And when you got, Skip, you get 8 guys in double figures, I believe they can take a game. Now, there's no love lost between Joel Embiid and Russell Westbrook. Because was a couple of years ago, Russ was waving at him by, told him, take your butt home. Take your butt home. And then they asked Russ, are you and Joel friends? He like, F no. Made it abundantly clear, I ain't got nothing for Joel Embiid. So, but I Skip, the way Russ plays, it's going to be very interesting how they defend him. Are they going to put Ben Simmons on him, or do they put Ben Simmons on Bradley Beal? They still have Danny Green and Tobias Harris, who are very solid defenders in their own right. Not to the level of Ben Simmons, but so for me, I believe they can take a game or two off him. I'm going to say Philly wins in 6. Because they don't have an answer for Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid might average 35 and 15 in this series, but Russ gonna have a couple of games where he has 18, 19 rebounds and 20 assists.
He will. I have now officially decided after last night that Russell Westbrook is the most fascinating and frustrating basketball player I have ever tried to figure out. Both of us ended the show yesterday by saying, God, I think we got to go with Indiana.
You got to go with Indy.
Because we were prisoners of the second half moment at Boston when Russ had 13 rebounds in the first half and he got 1 in the second with 0 assists.
Right.
How is that possible? Russell Westbrook had 0 assists and they just fell all apart against the Celtics.
They did.
As we know, Jason Tatum just took the game over.
Yep.
Way to go. But last night, Russ came out in supreme attack mode from the first dribble, and the poor Pacers with their coach, who may be on the hot seat.
Oh, yeah, I believe he's gone. Yeah, I don't think he can survive it, Skip.
Nate Bjorkgren. So he's over there, and we could hear it via TNT. He's screaming at him in the sideline huddle. You know, they had built the wall, as Kenny Smith showed at halftime on TNT, and yet he's saying, somebody take a charge. You know, just take a charge. Because Russ just said, I'm going to run through the brick wall. I'm going to run through it every time. And he literally ran through the quote-unquote brick wall that was more like a putty wall.
Yeah, right? Like, I'm not taking no knee to the chair. You get out there, take a knee to the chair.
It. And he would just get to the rim every time, and he would dish it or dump it to somebody, or he would just score it at the rim. So now what? You know how much I like Doc. You know how much I love Embiid. I still say I'll take Embiid over Jokic any day or any night. And I believe he's as healthy as he's been in a while, and maybe he won't have any stomach disorders this time, and maybe he'll get unscathed through the playoffs. But there's something about this Wizards team. If Russ plays the way he did last night, they're going to be a handful for anybody, including the Sixers.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I am rooting for the Sixers because I want to see them in the Nets in the final. And I believe it'll go to 7 games if they get to face the Nets in the final. But I also think round 1, with a little rust on the Sixers right now, I think it's going to go 7 games.
Okay.
I believe the Wizards can get 3 off them because Bradley Beal is getting healthier by the dribble.
Right.
And when he goes off, he just goes off.
Oh, he's a walking 40. We know he can go get 40.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Hachimura. He's pretty good. And you talked about Lynn and
Gafford.
And Gafford, and then coming on, Lopez just came in and wreaked havoc for a while. So they have firepower. Little Ish Smith, he comes in and just makes things happen. Right? So I do like this team. I'm intrigued by it. But the one thing that tends to happen to Russ in big playoff games is he goes West brick.
Right.
And if he starts gunning threes, you're going to lose.
You're going to lose,
And I loved what Scotty Brooks said afterwards, and he loves Russ because Russ has carried Scotty Brooks a long way.
Yes.
He's got him jobs, and he's, you know, he has been his driving force of his career. So he's going to sing his praises after a game like this.
Rightfully so.
But and I was good with Hooper, angry Hooper, but when he plays the right way. No, he doesn't. He just doesn't play the right way. I'm sorry. He usually plays the wrong way. Here's a quick case in point. Last night, it was a play of the night. It's they're blowing the game wide open in the third quarter with 6 minutes left, if we could see it. And Russ gets Bradley Beal on a little fake and go down the baseline for a dunk and an and one. And watch Russ. How does he celebrate this pass? Sweet little dish. And then Russ turns away from Bradley Beal and says, I am the world. Did you see me? Look at me.
No,
Look at me.
that was a good pass. He said, you didn't think I saw you, did you, Brad? You didn't think I saw you, did you? I saw you.
No, but he's basically in all his glory. Magic Johnson, in his heyday, if he had made that dish to James Worthy for a dunk, trust me, Magic would have run to James Worthy and either hugged him or high-fived him or celebrated in his space, in his airspace.
Skip, what the guys do now is they make a outstanding pass. You got to put the binoculars. You got to you see that?
Did you see that?
You see that? Yeah,
okay,
I got that.
So he turns completely away from his brother, his teammate, his co-star, and goes up the court in all his own solo glory. Right? That summed up Russ to me. That play was why Russ is now 56 and 54 in playoff games. So he's 2 games above 500. More important, since KD left him, right. Since 2017, Russ is now 9 and 19 in playoff games. And yet I'm making a case. I just kind of like the chemistry of this team. And about 2 out of 3 nights, I see a more mature Russ. Last night, I saw a very mature Russ.
Well, Russ is saying if I'd had Paul George, if I'd had PG-13, I might have been 19 and 9 instead of way off P.
No,
pandemic PEE.
Well, did he have Melo? Yeah.
No. PG.
Yeah,
PG was the one that say I'm playing.
No, I know, but he did have also Carmelo, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So.
But we're not talking about Carmelo as a top 10 player right now.
All right, I got it. So if you look at Russ, this is all about good Russ or really bad Russ.
Right.
Because the worst of Russ came when, remember, he and KD had the Warriors down 3 games to 1.
Yes.
And then this happened in games 5, 6, and 7. Now, 2 of them were at Golden State. 5 and 7 were at Golden State. But Russ goes 11 of 28, 10 of 27, and 7 of 21. That's 37% from the floor, which is terrible. And in those 3 games, he shot 5 of 19 from 3. He didn't take that many threes, but that's 26%.
That's still like 6 a game.
I know,
that's more than what he should have been taking.
Okay, I got it. But in the turnovers, he averaged 5 turnovers a game for those 3 games. That's how you lose to the Warriors that you had dead to rights.
Well, Skip, yesterday he had 15 assists with 3 turnovers. You could live with that.
Can you?
You could live with that. It was the other night when we had a high turnover. But the thing is, Skip, look, if you let him play downhill, if you let him attack your basket, he's either going to lay the ball in or you're going to foul him. Now, he's not the greatest fouler, but he'll shoot enough of them that will hurt you. And that's what I didn't understand about Indiana. Like, y'all just going to let the man lay the ball up, or y'all going to let him drive the lane and just hand it off and let somebody dunk it on you?
They looked afraid of it, seriously.
Like, somebody just, how about, look, you ain't got to try to hurt him. But just hard fouling one time and say, Russ, don't come back in here. Maybe that'll deter him. But Russ, he's probably going to be undeterred because that's how he is. He's just like, okay, you fouled me hard. That's right. I'll get you back on the other end. I'll foul your butt hard. All right. But he's going to come back, Skip. But you just can't just let him. Okay, go ahead, Russ. Like he VIP. They let the man have VIP to the basket. They removed the rope and everything.
Okay. So you love context. So keep this in context. For the last 5 years, Russell Westbrook has averaged a triple-double.
Yes.
He has led the league in assists 3 of the last 4 years. That's pretty great,
that's outstanding,
right?
Yeah.
He's a 2-time scoring champ. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
He was the MVP, obviously, in 2017, and twice he's been the All-Star Game MVP, which is probably the most likely of all the accolades, because it's pretty easy for him to take over an All-Star Game, right? But still, you have that, and then you have this. This year from 3, he shot 31.5%. That ranked 150th in the NBA of 156 qualified three-point shooters. What? And then from the free throw line this year, 65.6%, ranked 103rd of 110. What? That guy did that? So he can't shoot a lick, but he can take over basketball games.
Yes.
At 6 feet 3 inches tall.
He's one of the few guys, Skip, that because he can do so many things, he can rebound. Skip, he's top 10 in rebounding. As a 6'3" guard, that's unheard of in today's game. Now, we know what he did assist-wise. He led the league in assists by over 2 per game because Harden didn't qualify. But what he's able to do and the way he can dominate the game, the mere fact, Skip, as you mentioned, he's not a great shooter from the three, from the field, or the free throw line. And the way he can still impact the game lets you know just how great of a player he actually is. When you have, I mean, Skip, just think of a wide receiver that couldn't say, well, he can't really catch.
No, that's basically what you're saying. That's true. That's a great analogy. I agree.
Well, how
he
he
can't
gonna
catch?
Yeah, well, how he going to impact the game?
Wait, he won an MVP, but he can't catch?
Right.
Really?
So,
no, he can't.
But he's phenomenal. I mean, when I just sit there and marvel at him and watch him, Skip, he's one of the few guys that when I watch him play, I say, that dude would have been a hell of a running back or a DB.
He would have been.
I say, he really could have played.
Hey, look at his shoulders. He's got a pair of shoulders on him, like a pair of NFL shoulders.
Yes. I'm looking at him like, whew, he could have played in the NFL.
Yeah.
With his mindset, Skip.
6'3", 200-ish.
He could. Yeah. He'd better DB.
Yeah.
Because he hurt. Yeah, he did put him at DB, Skip.
Box safety. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the NFL and the guy that just keeps playing in the league, Tim Tebow officially made his return to the league yesterday, joined the Jaguars for practice in his new number 85 jersey. And while Tebow acknowledged the challenge he faces as he tries to make the switch to tight end, many fans couldn't help but notice that he looks like he spent plenty of time in the weight room preparing for his opportunity with Jacksonville. Shannon, be honest here. What was your first impression of seeing Tebow back in a football jersey?
I like, okay, Tebow in a Jaguars uniform. I mean, what was it? I mean, he walking like he looked like a guy that didn't play the position. He's walking with his hands all open.
Wait. Now you're criticizing him for the way he walks. Shannon Sharpe is criticizing Tim Tebow, a wannabe tight end. Oh, you can't walk with your hands? Are you kidding me?
Who walks like that? Who walks like that? Who walks like that?
Tim Tebow does.
What's wrong with this?
Because he shattered the mold.
Look. I don't know what he's supposed to look like or how much they thought he was supposed to weigh or what tight ends weigh. I mean, tight ends normally weigh somewhere between 245 and 260, and he looks like
Where'd you play at? 228.
Yeah,
Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
I played at 228. Skip.
Thank you. That's a big boy, right?
Yeah, he is. But he looks like, I mean, today is conventional tight end, 245 to 260. I mean, I don't know what they thought he was going to look like. Skip, for me, look. And the problem that Urban is going to have is that guys are in the locker room and they're looking at Tebow and they're looking at Urban Meyer and says, well, you're only here because Urban wanted you here. Skip, if Tim Tebow had went anywhere else than Jacksonville and he made the roster, I would be shocked. I was like, man, people, you don't understand what he did. Y'all don't understand being away from the game for 6 years, not really playing in 9 years, switching positions and making an NFL roster is something special. But because I can't look at it, I can't give it the value that maybe it deserves because I don't believe, I believe he's going to be on the roster no matter what. That's just me. A lot of people don't believe he's going to make the roster.
He will make the roster.
I believe he was going to make the roster. So for me, had he gone to another team and gotten an opportunity and done it, okay, I would have been shocked. But, Skip, people keep using the analogy, well, you know how some coaches, like Coach Belichick goes somewhere, like when he went left the Giants and went to Cleveland, he brought Pepper Johnson, he brought Carl Banks. But they played the position that they played when they were in New York. They didn't come over and all of a sudden want to play tight end and offensive guard. So if he bring Tebow in to play quarterback, okay, I'm like, damn, dude, 6 years out of the league, still gets an opportunity, okay. But to come back after 6 years away, switch positions and be granted this opportunity. But Skip, I just don't know how it's going to work out because at the end of the day, you don't believe he'll play the position in its conventionality in the way it was meant to be.
No.
Catching the ball, going downfield, catching passes, inline blocker. You'll believe that he'll be more there handed to him. Maybe he gets a couple of runs, short yardage and goal line, plow the ball into the end zone with the direct snap, things of that nature. Maybe throw a pass here and there. That's how you believe he'll be used. But for me, Skip, he go help Trevor Lawrence. Help Trevor Lawrence do what? Hell, Tim Tebow couldn't read defenses. Now, Mel Kiper said Trevor Lawrence is the fourth highest rated quarterback that he's taken off in 43 years of doing this. And somehow Tim Tebow is going to help him do what?
Just figure it out.
How? He couldn't figure it out.
Figure out how to handle the limelight and the criticism and the spotlight that's on the first pick in the draft.
He did a good job of that. He was the #1 prospect from age 15 to now. He went to Clemson, handled it, true freshman, won the national title, within the Heisman contention, had them in national championship contention every year. Trevor Lawrence would be just fine.
Tim Tebow was a legend while he was in high school in Jacksonville.
He was a legend that couldn't play NFL football.
I don't know how he did it, but help me out. Maybe I'm getting memory foggy here a little bit, but did Tim Tebow not carry the Denver Broncos to the division championship?
You're using that term carry very loosely.
Okay.
I recommend you amend that.
How did he do that? You still can't explain that. You say he can't play in the NFL, but he took them on one of the great rides in the history of the NFL. They were 1-4 under Kyle Orton, and he took them to the championship, and he won a playoff game over Ben Roethlisberger in his prime and the Steelers.
Can I ask you a question? Your brother, Rick, one of the most, what's that James Barrett Award? That means he's one of the best. At that time when he wins that award, he's the best chef in all the world.
He's won it as a chef and a restaurateur.
So
Yes.
he's won 2 of them. Do you believe in Rick's life he's ever burned a dish?
Burned a dish?
Yes.
Oh, burned something he's cooking?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't know anything about it.
I would have said yes.
Okay.
So in other words, that's the equivalent, what Tim Tebow did then of the equivalent of your brother, a 2 times James Barrett Award winner, is burning a dish. That's what he did. He might have done it once. He never did it again.
Yeah, but Tebow had to do it 7, 8, 9 times. He had to take them on a long run. He didn't do it 2 games. He did it all the way home. It would have been 11 games.
Skip, he won 7 games.
Yeah.
He won 7
That's
games.
pretty great. And then he won an 8th game.
Okay, not 17. Not 27, not 37. He won 7 regular season games and a playoff game. Okay, Skip.
How good is it to throw for 316 against the Steelers, Mike Tomlin's defense, in a playoff game and win it in overtime?
Everybody else that's ever played a professional sports must update their resume every year except Tim Tebow.
No, he never was given an opportunity to update it. He was not. No.
Even Tom Brady.
He got lied to by the Jets.
Tom Brady said, what I did in New England doesn't matter in Tampa. I need to update my resume. People update their resume since the pandemic. How many times you think people have updated their resume? But Tim Tebow gets to keep the same resume for a decade and gets to live off that. Where they do that at, Skip Bayless? What business, what occupation would allow you to use a 12-year or 10-year-old resume?
What league would basically shun a player who carried a team to a division championship and a playoff win, and he never got another opportunity to start another game in his life? What league would do that to a player? Aha! He was a media circus. He was too big of a distraction. Voila.
Skip, let me ask you a question. Aaron Rodgers might be a distraction. Aaron Rodgers brings a lot of media. This is what we know about the NFL.
Not like this guy.
If you can play, they will hire you because there are too many people that have done things that a lot of people will go to jail for that's playing in this league, but they can play. If Tim Tebow could play as well as you said he could, Tim Tebow would have been gainfully employed. Okay. You know that, and I know that.
I don't know that.
Stop doing that.
Okay, back to my reactions to seeing Tim Tebow for the first time ever in Jaguar jersey. The first thing I thought was, wait a second, he's wearing 85. And my first thought was, wait, maybe he is going to be a tight end because he's going to try to one-up Shannon Sharpe, who was 84, right? No. Then I read a subsequent story that said, no, they're just waiting until they get rid of Gardner Minshew, who wears 15 now, and Tim Tebow will go back to the classic 15 that he's always worn.
Well, maybe he needs to try something else, because the last time he'd been wearing 15, it hadn't worked out well. So maybe that number is not as lucky as he thinks, because it didn't work at the Jets, it didn't work in New England, and didn't work in Philly.
Did it work for Urban Meyer?
Skip!
Yep. Did he win a Heisman? Did he win 2 national championships? Yep.
Skip!
Check.
You let that man use a resume for 15 years ago? Still?
And by the way, you say he's been out for 6 years. He's been playing professional baseball. All he did after not playing baseball since his junior year in high school, 11 years away from baseball, he made the Double-A All-Star team. He was an all-star Double-A where the the highest concentration of prospects.
Yeah, that's like me being the best softball player at the company picnic. Really?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay.
I was the MVP at the company picnic.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
I was.
I think there'd be a lot of other all-stars who would resent you saying that.
Hold on. First of all, Skip, this is where I have a problem with. When people say, well, look, professional golfers, everybody talk about, well, he's no. If you're not on the tour, you're not a professional golfer. If you're not in the MLB, you're not a professional. You are a minor leaguer. There's a difference between the two. Tim Tebow was not a professional baseball player.
Was he getting paid to play baseball? Yeah.
Hold on, Skip. They pay you in the minors.
Did he make it to AAA? Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Is that the majors? So what's the difference between the majors and the minors if they're the same thing? So if that's the case, hell, I want to stay there. If I will get the same money, if I'm still getting paid, why everybody trying to get to that next level then?
What % of players who start in the low minors ever make an all-star team in the minor leagues? What, maybe 3%, 5%?
Skip.
Come on.
Skip, he didn't make it to...
Okay, so
he didn't make
second reaction to Tebow in the jersey.
Goodness.
I'm thinking, he's huge. I think he's in shape huge, but he's huge.
Skip.
Weight room and dinner table huge.
I think the thing is that you and I have a different definition of in shape. I mean, look at me. I mean, people at home, do y'all think I'm in shape? Y'all think everybody want to call me and give me a try? I mean, do y'all think I'm in shape? Look at the shoulders. Look at the caps on the shoulders. Look at the chest, proportionate ratio.
No.
48, 30.
He has no use for you.
Hold on, what a minute.
Tim Tebow is going to be a 33-year-old wrecking ball.
Man,
He looks like he's at least 250. And he will be used just the way Urban used him. The blueprint was set when Tebow was a freshman under Chris Leak as the starting franchise quarterback for the Florida Gators. They won a national championship with Tim Tebow. Every short yardage, every goal line situation, every key play of the game, Tebow's going to touch the football. He's going to ride and decide. He's going to read option. He's going to pile drive it into the end zone or jump pass it into the end zone.
If you don't mind me asking, how's that going to make Trevor Lawrence feel? Trevor Lawrence is the number one.
He'll be just fine. He's a rookie.
You see?
He's a rookie.
See, already. He already there doing exactly what everybody said he was going to do with upstage Trevor Lawrence. I told you it was just going to be a matter of time. Skip Bayless said every time that the rubber needs to meet the road, in every crucial situation, Tim Tebow is going to have the ball in his hand. Now, you just drafted a guy #1 overall, who Mel Kiper said is the 4th highest rated quarterback that he's graded in 43 years. And a guy that couldn't play the position longer than 8 games is going now all of a sudden going to be in a position to take it over in every crucial situation.
H-back, wildcat quarterback, designated touchdown Timmy scorer. That's what he will be.
Tailback.
You watch.
Son, get your tailback over here and stand beside me.
You watch what's going to happen. It will be that freshman year all over again.
Skip, this the NFL.
Yeah, it is. And what did Urban tell his assistants after they had first worked out Tim Tebow? I said, boy, he's in great shape. It looks like he's 20 years old, right?
This is a situation,
Okay, what did Urban tell them? He said, you guys do not understand. He's the most competitive psycho you will ever talk to. And he is. We just talked about Russell Westbrook. Whatever that thing is in Russell, Tebow's got it in him.
No, Russell.
It's that run through a brick wall.
Well, Russell has something that Tebow doesn't have, and an abundance of talent. That's what Russell Westbrook had that Tebow doesn't have.
I witnessed this because at Tebow's baseball showcase out here at Dedeaux Field at USC back just before we started this show this would have been August of 2016. I was there in the stands witnessing. Tebow ran a 40 for them, and he timed 4.6, and I think he weighed 250 at that point. 4.6, that's some athletic ability.
Skip, the thing
He is a nifty runner with the football, or he will just run your you-know-what over.
Skip, the thing is about football is that there's a lot of guys that have just great, what we call inline speed, which is straight-ahead speed. But football is all about angle, start. Do you think Tim Tebow has what
I saw Tim. All he did was turn your Broncos into the #1 rushing attack in pro football. He ran for, what was it, like 800 yards in the few games that he started?
When was the last time a running team won the Super Bowl?
Well, they've won the AFC West, and you know how hard that is. And they beat Roethlisberger in a playoff game. You know how hard that is.
That was a decade ago. Nobody. Skip, you cannot go get a job unless you know the person that's doing the hiring.
He's only 33.
With a 10-year-old resume. People at home, look.
Tim Tebow's 10 years younger than Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's about to win his 8th Super Bowl.
And Tom Brady got more talent in his left arm than Tim Tebow got in his body.
The guy you tell me is unathletic Tom Brady?
Yeah.
That guy?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll give you arm talent on that, but nope, not athletic ability.
Skip, Tim Tebow is not as athletic as you think. Just because you say, you know what, I'm going to go play baseball. So in other words, if I go try to play another sport and I fail at it, it means I'm athletic, right? So as long as I attempt, even if I'm not successful at it, as long as I attempt something, that means I'm good at said sport.
He made the All-Star team at AA. Who else could do that?
The other 46 guys in that same that made it.
Okay, I give you he's not Dion, he's not Bo as a crossover athlete. Obviously not, but he's pretty good.
Hell, he ain't Danny Ainge.
Danny Ainge was really good.
Exactly.
Toronto, he started for the Toronto Blue Jays at second base.
Yes.
No, he's great. Okay, there's 3. I'll give you those 3.
Well, Dave Winfield got drafted in all 3 sports. Tony Gwynn got drafted in 2 sports.
Okay, I may even give you those. Okay, so you got 5 on me. And you can keep on keeping on because you won't get much farther because Tebow is very athletic. Tebow can really run with the football, and when Tebow smells pay dirt, it's just like Russ sees the basket.
How about
you better get out of the way.
How about I do you like this here, Skip? He's athletic in a lot of things, but not good at anything. There you go. Wrap it up, Janie.
All right, I can't believe I'm going to wrap it up. You guys need to hear this.
He's going to haunt you this whole year. Just wait. Every Monday he's going to haunt you. For me, it is 2011 all over again.
No mercy. LeBron capped off his showdown with Steph Curry on Wednesday night with his longest three-pointer of the season, knocking down a 34-footer in the final minute to put the Lakers ahead for good. Steph was asked what it was like to be on the wrong end of a dagger 3 and responded by saying, quote, "I've seen it before," about 5 years ago, referencing the shot that Kyrie Irving hit in front of Curry in the final minute of Game 7 of the 2016 Finals. That shot. It's honestly every single time you see it, it's special. Shannon, do you agree that he has seen this before?
The shots were very similar, but the value is different. Skip, one was hit in the Game 7 of the NBA Finals, ended up winning them the ball game. Although this won them the ball game. Skip, the NBA can't decide what this is. Is this a regular season game? Is this a playoff game? Hell, for all they know, they just played. This might be a summer league game.
It didn't happen.
Basically, it didn't happen. Yeah. Skip. See, that's what LeBron was talking about. I can't get no credit. I get no value. This game has no nutritional value for me in the stat column. And so, get what he said. If you remember, the shot clock was also winding down when Kyrie had the ball. He shot the ball with about 3 seconds. So by the time it hit the net, it was about 1 second left on the clock. So he's like, okay, the difference is Steph was guarding Kyrie. He was just closing out. He's like, hey, oh, man, LeBron. And that's what happens. We see a lot of this in football. That's why a lot of guys don't chase. Because whoever chased the guy to the end zone, people automatically assume that was your man. And that's why I be looking around like, nah, that wasn't me. So for me, if Lakers go on and win, Skip, maybe the shot has the same value because it launched them into a direction that they wanted to be in. But I get what Steph is saying. Both of these shots were hit on me, and people are going to remember because they're going to go back and look at the one in the championship game. They're like, damn, Steph, Kyrie put that in your eye. And they go fast forward 5 years and say, damn, Steph, LeBron put that one in your eye too. So I get what he's saying. It's like both of these shots, three-point shots, game-winning shots, was hit on me, so it seemed like, man, I can't even catch a break. Because every big shot that, somebody's hit, with, I guess, playoff implications, one with a championship implication, happened on me. So I get what he's saying, Skip, but these are two different shots, three-pointers. Yes, clock winding down, but the value of Kyrie's shot versus the value of LeBron is in 2 different stratospheres.
So when I first saw this clip of Steph saying, I've seen this before, I was like, it took me aback. I had to sit back and say, you've seen what before? And I started thinking, wait a second, is my memory serving me here? Did LeBron hit that shot in Game 7? Has he seen LeBron do this to him before? No, he has not.
Right.
So he was somehow confusing the Kyrie and LeBron shots or making them the same. They're completely dissimilar to me because they don't belong in the same breath that Steph put them in. Because let's reconstitute what was happening in that Game 7 at Oracle. Remember, Golden State had a 3-1 lead, and they started to fall apart when Draymond was suspended for Game 5 at Golden State. And here they came. Here came your Cavaliers. And yet there they went in the fourth quarter of Game 7, because I'll give LeBron this. He did hit a 3 to put them up 2. That was 89-87. Look how low scoring it was, 89-87. Both teams, frankly, were having a hard time finding the basket.
Yeah, the nerve, you could tell the nerve was there.
Okay, so LeBron hit a 3. It's 4:53 left. I'm giving you credit for this, to put them up 2. But from that point on, neither team could hit a shot for the next about 4 minutes. In fact, it's a little more than 4 minutes. And over that stretch, the Cavs went 0 for 6. This is ahead of Kyrie's shot. They had gone 0 for 6 in that stretch, and LeBron had gone 0 for 4 after that 3 he hit. He missed a 22-footer that would have put them up 2. Then he missed a 13-footer that would have put them up 2. Then he missed a driving layup. Iggy I think he got his fingertips on it. He got a block on it. That would have put them up 2. And then he missed a little 5-footer off the glass that would have put them up 2. So LeBron had gone 0 for 4 in that stretch. They're just clanking and choking. They can't buy a basket. So late in that clock, Kyrie says, okay, well, just give me the ball and get out of the way, because I'm going to do this. So it wasn't a last-second shot clock shot like LeBron's was the other night. He had some time to dance on Steph, who was all over him, stayed right with him. Steph did a pretty good job of defending him and leaped and got a hand up in his face.
I think Steph was probably more worried about Kyrie going by him. So, you know, Skip, he wasn't
but he didn't buy any of that.
No.
I mean, he stayed with it. He stayed down, and he got a hand up, and Kyrie had to fall back just a little bit.
Yeah, that's his shot.
Yeah, that's his shot.
Yeah.
And that could actually been and one, actually, because Steph got in his airspace coming down.
But the thing was, Skip, is that when what Steph is saying is that, look, I understand the value of the shots are totally different. One is an NBA Finals with the Larry O'Brien award on the line, and the other is for a chance to be the 7th seed. Obviously, the value is different, but the shot, Skip, it's a 3-point shot. And all people are going to remember, Skip, is that look who, and in both of them, who's in the photo? Steph.
Okay.
And
so
Steph is like,
what do you think? He's getting Paul George?
Yeah, they're playing Steph. Man, I can't even catch a break.
All right. Well, his team couldn't catch a break in that Game 7, because I'm going to remind everybody, in Games 5, 6, and 7, Steph just went south on them. He played smaller than he actually
Skip,
is.
I don't really I don't know what he could have done. When you have 2 guys go off for 41 apiece, and LeBron had, 41, 12 and 8, and the next game he had 41, 16 and 7. So when LeBron, in Game 5, I don't know what else Steph could have done.
He could have fought fire with fire.
Skip, you had
we all acknowledge he's the greatest shooter in the history of this league.
But he can't. So he would have to offset what they got from LeBron and Kyrie. He would have needed to score 80 because they gave him 42. They gave him 41 apiece.
Well, he did have this guy named Klay Thompson alongside. So you don't think they can fight fire with fire?
Well, with Klay. Klay should have gave you one of them 60 pieces there.
Okay. What do most people think? Is Steph more valuable than Klay? Well, he won back-to-back MVPs. Of course he is. So in Game 7 in his house, Steph Curry went 6 of 19 from the field. He went 4 of 14 from 3. He only got to the free throw line 1 time and made 1 free throw. In the fourth quarter of that game, as all this clanking was going on, what did Steph do? He went 1 for 6. This is his house. He went 1 of 5 from 3. He shot no free throws, and he had 1 huge turnover, as you remember, when he went behind the back and threw it in the third row.
Yeah, that was the Lombardi Trophy he threw out of bounds.
Okay.
I appreciate that, Steph.
Thank you very much.
But Skip, I think the thing is that what people want is that Steph and LeBron has a very high level of respect for one another. And I think the thing is somehow over the years, and what these old guards want to do, Steph should hate LeBron, and LeBron should hate Steph. When Wilt and Bill, they would have dinner at each other. Wilt would go to Bill's Russell's house and have dinner. Guys didn't always hate each other. Magic and Isaiah was the best of friends, but they could compete. So this notion that I got to hate you, Skip, this is not a Michigan, Ohio State, or Alabama, Auburn type situation. People don't have to look. LeBron James and Steph Curry can do battle and still at the end hug it up and say, bro, that was a hell of a game. Man, you a hell of a player, yada, yada, yada. I don't have to hate you to build up this to build up something to like, I hate Steph. I want to do this so bad. No, it's the level of competition. You want what I want what you want, and only one of us is going to be able to get it. That's good enough for me. And if we hey, we're going to break bread. Like I said, I don't know how close they are off the field, court. I know they're not like probably D. Wade and LeBron or Melo and LeBron, but I think they have enough respect for one another and respect for what the other has done in this league. So this notion that, and this old guy, oh man, they need to hate each other. Y'all didn't hate each other. I'm sure. How many times you think Charles Barkley went out with Michael Jordan before a game? He didn't. So did he hate Michael? But they quick out, hate him. Oh, I didn't like this guy. But guess what? They vacationing, they playing cards, they going to Vegas together. They weren't hating each other.
Because Michael got a kick out of Charles.
But it's
because Michael was not at all threatened by Charles on the court.
Well, he should have been threatened.
Because Michael knew that psychologically he would own Charles on the court.
Well, Skip.
He knew Charles was in awe of him and in fear of him.
Well,
case closed.
These guys today, Skip, is probably a lot different. A lot of these guys probably grew up playing against each other in AAU. A lot of these guys, Skip, probably played on the same AAU ball club, traveled in the same circle. So it's different, Skip, where the only time you read about a guy, you read about it in the paper, he was from Chicago, you from California, like, oh, that's him? And then you went to college. Skip, these guys, if you play AAU ball, you in the NBA, I guarantee you, these guys have seen each other. Bradley Beal and Jason Tatum went to the same high school. Now, they're a few years apart, so you know they know each other, Skip. So what? They supposed to hate each other? Nah, you can play a hard-fought game and still be cool.
So obviously, Kyrie shot, he created, he danced, he went up and shot it, and it was for the championship.
Yeah.
LeBron's shot was at the end of the clock.
He created.
He didn't have to create anything. It was like, oh my God, I have to shoot this. I see 3 rims. I think I'll pick the middle one.
He put that last king. He put that last king of Scotland. That Forrest Whitaker eye. He closed that left one.
It accidentally went in. Way to go.
Zoomed that thing in.
And it had such magnitude that the stats don't even count. That's how big a deal that shot was.
Hey, LeBron did that thing right there.
Yeah.
He said, I can't see. He said, I can't see. He said, what happened? All he heard was the crowd. He couldn't see a thing.
If he had been able to see, he would have missed.
No, he wasn't. You see what you did?
No,
you see what you did right there.
That's the truest thing I've said on this show today.
No.
See, now all of a sudden, he couldn't even see the basket. He just threw it up and it went in.
Yeah. It was a lucky, desperate heave and hope.
No, Skip. You know what I found out, Skip? The harder I work, the luckier I got.
Yeah.
That's what I figured out. So LeBron James said, the more work I put into this thing, the luckier I get. That's why he hit those shots. There's a reason why he got 5 buzzer beaters in playoff history.
Well, he must not be working that hard to get better because he's still playing on one leg. At least that's what they say.
There you go.
One leg.
But what about your Clippers? They're
100%. I got no excuses. I don't need any excuses.
Yeah.
They're 100% whole and healthy and psychologically healthy as opposed to last year.
Fragile.
Yep.
They fragile.
No.
I'm telling you, teams, all you got to do is keep it close in the fourth quarter. Because when it comes to efficiency, late in the ball game, they one of the worst. They one of the worst.
And now,
keep it close.
Now they have playoff Rondo, and you don't.
Just don't let them go running high. Now they front run with the best of them. PG gonna be doing the airplane. He gonna put it in reverse and back it up.
Yeah.
He'll front run with the best of them. All of them will. Pat Bev. You know what I want to Skip? Was PG was he missing his family when he was doing this? Him and Pat Bev on the side like daytime. Oh, Pat Bev, it's daytime. It's daytime. He ain't missed his family then. Now all of a sudden he scored 2 points. He missed his family. But get out of here with that foolishness.
Pretty soon it's going to be Dame time for the Lakers.
That's all right. Hey,
Yep.
Dave, I like Dave.
Well,
but
you're not going to like him for long.
But don't go.
He's going to do you in.
You wanted to.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. You say Dave wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Now you want Dave.
He's grown up. They added an adult to their lineup, Norman Powell. He can play, man.
Oh, so now they know I had the normal power.
Yeah. You watch. You can laugh. Go ahead. Did we get that on tape? Shannon laughing. Shannon's laughing at Portland that's won 10 of its last 12.
No mercy. Well, we've got some big news out of boxing, as it looks like we're going to get a third fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. The two fighters have reportedly agreed to a fight in July after an arbitrator ruled that Fury was contractually obligated to give Wilder a rematch. The first fight ended in a draw back in 2018, while the second match ended in a Fury TKO last year. So, Shannon, what shot do you give Wilder this time?
If it's a fight, it's a heavyweight fight. So one punch can turn the lights out of the building.
And he can throw punches.
But the thing that Fury did in the second fight is that he knew that Wilder was looking to land that one punch. Deontay Wilder is a fighter. Tyson Fury is a boxer. He's technically sound. 6'9". You see the way he moves. He's fluid. He's agile. So he neutralizes everything that Deontay Wilder wants to do. He neutralized it. Now, can somehow he sneak that right? Because he has dynamite in his hands. Yep. Can he sneak that right past Fury's guard? Sure, he could. But do I believe he's going to do that? No, I don't. I do not believe Deontay Wilder has become a better boxer in the absence, because neither guy's fought since they last fought, Skip. So I don't believe Deontay Wilder has become a better boxer. He fired, who do you have? Buddy McGregor? Who do you have in his corner? Yeah, he fired this guy with a Buddy McGregor.
Yeah.
Might have been
fired him.
No, you know who it was? It was the Olympic gold, Mark Breland.
Yeah, because he threw the towel in.
Threw the towel in, yeah. So he got rid of him. I don't believe Deontay Wilder has become a better boxer. Tyson Fury, I was hoping to see Joshua and Fury. I really was, Skip. That's what I wanted to see.
So was Fury.
Yeah. With a guaranteed $75 million each person. Yeah, I look. I give Deontay Wilder about 15 minutes and bro, step aside. Let me get this big payday. That $75 million is the least they'll get. Could be upwards of $100 million, Skip. So I get Deontay, man, take that $15 million and go sit down somewhere. I'll deal with you in a couple of months. But Skip, I'm gonna take Fury. I just believe he's the more technically sound fighter. I believe he's the better boxer. I believe he does everything. He just doesn't have the dynamite in his hands like Deontay Wilder. But you saw what he did. He can put his punches together and got Deontay Wilder out of there. So I'm going Fury.
Ditto. And to Deontay Wilder, I would say right now, be careful what you wish for, because he's going to get the payday that he legally has just earned via the arbitration.
Right.
But do you really want to suffer this for a payday?
Right.
It felt like everything turned completely around in the second fight. Because I remind you, in the first fight, Wilder got him in the 6th round, knocked him down. It was more of a push down to me. But then in the 12th, he rocked him, socked him.
He caught him flush.
He caught him.
He did. He caught him flush.
He dropped him. It took miraculous levitation. It's like he rose from the dead.
Like the Undertaker, he sat up in the ring.
He did. I don't know where that came from.
I don't either.
But once Tyson Fury sat up like the Undertaker and stood up, he looked like he was 100% okay.
And I don't believe it. I don't know another fighter that could have took that punch flush and got up from it, Skip.
And it was a draw.
Yes.
And I'm okay with that.
Right.
And here we came to the second fight, and it was a mismatch.
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
It was, you could tell in round 1, wait a second, Tyson Fury has figured him out.
Right.
And I said after that fight that we always go pound for pound, he's the best, this or that. And we're going down to little guys.
Right.
But now I'm going up to the biggest guy.
Dude, 6'9".
He's 6'9". What do we give him? Is he 300?
They say he came in at 260, 263.
Yeah, but he looks
like...
Oh,
but in the offseason, he's 300.
He's 300.
Yeah.
So pound for pound, going to the top of the scale, he's the best boxer I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But for a huge man, he can really box.
Yeah.
He can punch. He can
skill.
He can obviously take a punch.
But Skip, when you look at it, really, they should reclassify this as like super heavyweight.
Yeah.
Because the heavyweights that we remember, Ali was 6'3", 205. Floyd Patterson, 195. George Foreman was the true big heavyweight. And then you got Lennox Lewis. And then you got the Klitschko's. And then you got Razor Ruddicks. You got those guys all of a sudden, they were 6'5", 6'6", 250, 260. This guy's 6'9", and you got Wilder 6'7". So they really need to classify. Anthony Joshua is a huge man. Yeah. They're not like the classic heavyweights where they were like 210 on down. These guys are 250 and up.
Yep.
But like you said, as skill, you look at these guys, Skip. Our guy, Lennox Lewis, won the gold medal. He's technically sound.
Oh.
You look at Anthony Joshua, won the gold medal, technically sound.
Yep.
Vladimir Klitschko, gold medal, technically sound. All these guys, Deontay Wilder just picked up his point like, you know what I want to do? I would try that. And he got good. He won a belt. He got dynamite in his hand, Skip. But he doesn't really know how to box. He knows how to fight. He's looking to land that one shot.
Yep.
And Tyson Fury figured out how to neutralize that shot, stay away from it, and just pop, and got him up out of there.
He got him up out of there. So Deontay Wilder did have two legit excuses, you could argue, from the second fight. He shows up, you know, when in his walkout, he's got on a 40-pound suit.
Anybody dare to put that ish on? He put that on and come out there with the eyes glowing. When it was cool, it looked good. I was like, oh, he about to get it. Oh, Phil, he about to tear you up.
Was it from Black Panther? I don't know what it was. It was to commemorate Black History Month.
Yeah. The eyes was glowing red. I was like, ooh, Fury, he gonna tear you. Ooh, Fury in trouble. I was like, oh.
But he said it weighed so much that it bogged him down and he was sweating profusely under it, and it took something out of him before round one.
Yeah.
Okay? I'll give him a little excuse on that one.
Yeah. Okay, how about this here? You know, normally you have an idea of what you're going to wear in the fight. Wouldn't you have tried that on first and say, you know what, how far am I going to have to walk? It's probably like, I'm probably going to have to walk 100 yards just to get to the ring. So let me put this on. Let me walk 100 yards and see how I feel. Bruh.
Maybe he thought it was worth it on psychological intimidation, right?
Look, Skip, once you get to that level right there, it's hard to intimidate. The last guy that could really intimidate somebody, he retired many, many years ago. That was Mike Tyson.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ali.
But Skip, think about how Mike Tyson came to the ring. A cutout towel over his head, black trunks, black shoes. He had nothing else on. A hotel towel that he had cut the neck out of, draped across his shoulders. That was his intimidation. There wasn't no costume.
And it worked through the Spinks fight. But then once Buster Douglas got a hold of him, the
invincibility was gone.
Okay, I got it. The second excuse that Wilder can argue now is he should have been allowed to finish another round because they did throw in the towel because remember, he's bleeding from his ear.
Yeah, busted his eardrum.
And he had to go to the hospital afterwards. Okay, I did argue with you the next Monday after the fight. I would have let him continue for a little while longer. It's my namesake, Kenny Bayless was the referee, you know, my blood brother. and he was the one who, they threw in the towel, obviously, but he just said that's enough. And you can argue just for civility that
that's how you guys get hurt.
I got it, but listen, this is a competitive you-know-what.
Yeah.
And I thought he was still, he was still moving well enough that it's because of what you say. He is a one-punch wonder, and if he could still land one shot,
he can get him about it.
Right, and he didn't look gassed to me. I wasn't sure he was that hurt. He was getting outclassed.
Right,
he was getting mismatched. But
if you look at Skip, look at the guys that they used to fight 15 rounds, and you and I remember when they fought 15 rounds, and then they cut it down to 12. And you look at the way Ali was talking later in his career, and you look at Joe Frazier, and you look at Ken Norton, and you look at all these guys, Skip, you don't want to take that kind of punishment. And he was not going to win that fight. Kenny Bayless, sometimes a referee, not only do you, make sure everything's going to up and up, but you got to protect these fighters for himself. Kenny Bayless has been around long enough. He knew Wilder was in trouble.
I got it. Well, especially if Breland throws the towel in, then
Mark Breland is Olympic gold medal.
You have no choice.
Yeah, he was on the 84 team, which is arguably the greatest team that the Americans have ever sent to the Olympics. People can make the case for 68, obviously 60 with Ali. I think Frazier won in 64 and Big George was in 68. But that 84 Olympic team, go back and look at that with Breland and Whitaker and all those guys that won gold medals. Breland was a damn good fighter in his own right, but he's a great trainer also. Bruh. Did the rock. He did the right thing. He throw the towel in.
Yep. Okay. So the rubber match, the trilogy fight.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think it will be more of the same of the second fight.
Yeah.
I don't blame Deontay for wanting. Again, he needs the payday, number one. But okay, I'll give you a shot. I just don't think you got a shot.
I'll take 15 minutes and go sit down. And hey, as soon as you, and I want the winner of Joshua Fury. Whoever wins the title, I want that person. And
unless Tyson Fury is looking ahead to Joshua, that's the only shot you got.
Man,
no.
I was looking for. Skip. I ain't gonna even lie, Skip. I forgot all about Deontay Wilder had a rematch clause in that fight. Yeah. Because everybody was talking about Joshua, and they had finally settled. I think they're going to fight in Saudi Arabia. And the site fee, they built all this money. And Fury talking about, I talked to the defense ministry, and everything's good. We good to go. And I'm like, yeah, we about to get the fight. And then they're like, arbitration? Who got arbitration?
Yeah.
The judge said, nah, you got to fight this guy. He had a contract. You got a clause in that. You got to give him a rematch before September.
Yep.
Like, oh, man.
All right. So
I will watch, but I'll have no expectation.
Watch, but no expectations. But we're definitely all watching. We can agree on that.
No mercy.
Tomorrow, MLB is back on Fox, headlined by an interleague showdown between the Red Sox and Phillies. Or it's two of the greatest rivalries in baseball as the Dodgers take on the Giants and the Cubs face the Cardinals. Tomorrow, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Check local listings for the game in your area. In his first year in Phoenix, Chris Paul has led the Suns to their first playoff appearance in over a decade and the number 2 seed in the West. CP3 will now go up against his good friend LeBron James in the first round as he chases a deep playoff run that has eluded him for most of his career. The 36-year-old is an 11-time All-Star, but has only made it to the conference finals 1 time. Shannon, is Chris Paul's career overrated or underrated so far?
I think it's a little underrated, Skip, and although I know he hasn't won a championship and everybody wants the championship to be the end-all, be-all, Skip, but for me, if every great player in every said sport won a championship, championships would be meaningless. That's what makes championships so special, is that it's so hard to accomplish it. In every great player, there have been a lot of great players that's never won a championship, and that's okay. That's what makes people want to chase it, because if everybody could get it, what's the meaning of it? It would lose some of its significance. It would lose some of its importance. But Skip, it's hard to argue. You look at the teams prior to when he arrives, and you look at the success the team has once he arrives. And then you look at the team once he leaves, what happens? So for me, I think Chris Paul has been a little bit underrated. Skip, and it's hard for a guard to have that, unless like Steph Curry is a different animal. Magic Johnson was different animal, but Magic 6'9". So Skip, we probably need to take Magic and stop saying he's a guard, because he was so unique in what he could do. When you're talking about Chris Paul is 6 foot tall.
He's 6 feet tall. Sometimes I'm not even sure he's 6 feet tall.
So when you talk about small guards, Isaiah, Chris Paul, Allen Iverson, Steph Curry, you know, you're asking an awful lot, and that's why people love Steph so much, because Steph, he's small, but he transcended the game. He revolutionized, he changed the game. Zeke was able to lead teams to championship as a 6'1" guard. But for me, Skip, I think he's underrated. For the simple, and people say he's overrated. Well, if he's that good, why hadn't he won a championship? But I don't think Chris Paul has ever been, really, with the exception of what maybe, can we honestly ever say Chris Paul had the best team, was on the best team in the NBA, and we thought that, man, yeah, okay, maybe some of those Clippers teams with him and Blake, they had I think Jamal Crawford was there, DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, Skip, I really never thought that. Was he supposed to win one in New Orleans? No.
They're pretty good, but not championship quality.
Right.
Yep.
So for me, Skip, I'm gonna say he's underrated. It's hard to argue his input, his what happens to the team once he arrives, because we saw the only difference between obviously Monty Williams. I think Monty was there last year, but the only difference between the Suns last year and this year is Chris Paul.
Yep.
That's the only difference. And
I buy that.
They're the 2 seed. So I believe his career is a little underrated. Boy, but a championship for this kid, for what it would mean for him, I think if he gets a championship, Skip, I think you're going to have to start putting him, he's close on the precipice. I don't know. Obviously, when I think of guards, Magic is number 1. I'm going Steph 2. I would say, Oscar, Isaiah, but Chris Paul, if he gets a championship, it's going to be hard to say he's not a top 5 point guard.
That's a big if you just spat out.
I'm sorry, it's getting.
And if he's going to get it, it's going to be at the expense of your Lakers.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think you would, Skip, if he can run the gauntlet and beat the Lakers and somehow beat the Nets on the other side or beat...
Well, now you've done it.
Yeah.
No, that's it. You have become a made man.
Right, because what made Bird and Magic so special, Skip, what? Somebody had to go through the other one.
Yeah.
Somebody had to cry.
Okay.
Somebody had to lose.
By the way, it did surprise me last night when I saw the Suns are a 2.5-point favorite. Mm-hmm. It's what, Sunday? Yeah,
Sunday.
2.5. It's Sunday early, right?
But for the series, the Lakers are the favorite.
Yep.
First time in history. Hey, no, can you tell me why? Can you tell me why, Skip?
Anthony Davis.
There you go, see?
He's the PER Prince. He's the best player on the Lakers right now. Well, LeBron's on one leg. LeBron's going to have to walk. He's going to have to play with a crutch because he's on one leg. He's going to have to actually dribble the ball while crutching up the floor, right?
You got jokes this morning.
He's not clutch, he's crutch, I guess.
But come July, you won't be having those jokes come July when we're in that confetti raining down in Purple League.
Jokes. Okay, this is no joke what I'm about to say about Chris Paul. CP3. Given his stature already, that you're already on the precipice of making him a top 5 point guard if he could do this and that. Given that, he has to be overrated because he's never quite been able to live up to what you're talking about, that kind of stature. He made it to the one conference finals with James Harden.
Okay.
And they went up 3-2, and right on schedule, he did what? He pulled his hamstring. He seems like he's always pulling something in big moments because he's had several playoff runs that got stopped by some injury. Am I right?
Yep.
And yet, there's something about him that we just talked about earlier in the show, Russell Westbrook. What did Scott Brooks say about Russell Westbrook? That he's a hooper who plays angry occasionally. He can be an angry hooper. Well, doesn't that describe Chris Paul? Mm-hmm. He can be an angry hooper who plays with edge because he can be so edgy, he'll go over the edge and cheap shot people, below the belt people, right? We've seen that from Chris Paul. There's just something lacking in Chris Paul where he either gets hurt or he's limited by his sheer lack of height. If you're not even 6 feet tall, how much damage can you ultimately do to the NBA playoffs?
Yeah.
Help me out here. That's why I'm going overrated because he's limited on his sheer stature. Now he's Pitbull. He's got shoulders like Russ, but Russ is 6'3".
But I think the difference is, Skip, where Steph Curry will shoot you, Chris Paul is more of the old school point guard facilitator, get everybody else involved. Yeah. So that's where his value is. He's a tenacious, Skip. He's been on the all-defensive team now. He's scrappy.
He's made it 9 times. I'm going to give you that. He's 4 times won the assist title.
Yeah.
He's 6 times won the steals title. I'm going to give you all this. That's pretty great. He was the rookie of the year. That's pretty great.
But Skip, if you look at Magic had word than Kareem. Russ has played with Harden, KD, and PG. Chris Paul, the best player that he's ever played with is James Harden. And as you mentioned, that hamstring became bulky at the worst possible time.
It did.
Because I believe, Skip, they would have beat Gold. I could be wrong. Who knows? It's easy to say that now. But I believe they would have got him had his hamstring not gone out on him.
Yeah.
And then maybe we look at Chris Paul totally different if he has that championship currently on his resume. But I mean, they thought CP3 was washed up a couple of years ago, Skip.
They did.
And he played as good as he ever played.
He took an Oklahoma City team that nobody saw coming. Yeah. Nobody had it as even a playoff, to like an 8 seed.
Right.
And they went 44-28 and made the 5th seed a year ago.
Right.
And then Phoenix, a year ago, they were 34-39. He took them to 51-21. I'm going to give you that. But I'm going to tell you, in the playoffs, he's 53-58 as Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Is that all his fault? No, it's not.
Right.
But still, is he transcendent? Can he elevate a team to the highest level? Well, it's hard to elevate when you're only 6 feet tall, right?
Well, you're not elevated.
You were not elevated. And the greatest shot he ever hit was at my expense of my Spurs back in 2015, and it was on May the 2nd of 2015. And you know what happened that night? Mayweather-Pacquiao happened that night, so I got it twice that day because if we could see what happened at the end of the game, he had pulled his hamstring and came back in and made that shot over Tim Duncan. That's the shot of shots. That won the game 111-109. That was the greatest shot he ever made.
And hit that on Danny Green, see?
Yeah, well, it was then Tim came over and got a big hand up. But the point was, I was impressed that day, but that was the highlight. That was the first round of the playoffs.
Right.
And what happened to the Spurs? They lost to the Pelicans. It was Anthony Davis on the last regular season night, and they fell from the 2 seed all the way to the 6 seed.
Right.
And Game 7 wound up at Staples, and that's the end of that. And Chris had to come back off a balky hamstring to make that shot. So I was highly impressed. But that's his highlight. That's career highlight right there.
But he has an all-time knock, Skip. They were up 3-1 on Houston.
On which one?
When he was at the Clippers.
Yes.
And you remember they came?
No, they were. Yes.
And they were up 19 at one point.
Yep.
And they got chased down. That's bad. That might be the baddest thing on his resume as far as playoff, Skip. But I think he's been a great player. You mentioned all the accolades. Led the league in assists, led the league in steals, all defensive, all NBA, all-star. Now the thing that's missing, Skip, that's the final piece.
Okay.
That's the final piece of the puzzle that can say, okay, Chris, you belong.
Okay.
But, Skip, but even if it doesn't happen, see, and this is what happens, is that we place so much emphasis on the title.
Yeah.
Now, when he goes and links up, and that's what guys have done, that's why you see all these guys go link up, Skip, because they're tired of hearing who's the best player that's never won a title.
Okay, so let me throw one last angle at you.
Okay.
So I was thinking about this before the show this morning because we're going to do Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul III. And I'm thinking, okay, in the end, in a playoff game, which player would you want? Well, obviously, Chris is 10 times the pure point guard that Russ is.
Yeah.
I think I would take Russ just on edge and explosiveness. There's just something about Russ. His ceiling is higher than Chris's because he's 6'3". And he's way more explosive.
But the question is that is he gonna hit his head on the ceiling?
I don't know. But I would just take him one game for my life. I think I would take Russell over Chris.
I think I'd take CP3.
You would?
I think I would.
And I think you're not sure about that.
Yeah, I think I might take it. I think I might take CP3.
Yeah. Well, in the end, and you're going to take him now against your Lakers?
No. But that ain't Russell on the other side. Yeah. That Go James.
Okay.
That's two different.
I got quote unquote GOAT James in 5 games over Chris Paul. 5 games.
5?
Yep.
You got him in 5, but you're praying like.
I'm not praying because Portland's going to take care of you in the next round.
No mercy.
LeBron and the Lakers are officially in the playoff field after their win in the play-in game against Warriors. But if they're going to win their 2nd straight title, LeBron's ankle is going to need to hold up. LeBron said after the game on Wednesday that his ankle is good, but ESPN reported that we need to be concerned about LeBron as he's playing on one leg. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joins us right now. Chris, I got to ask, how limited do you believe LeBron will be on his ankle? And is it going to keep the Lakers from repeating as champs?
Well, he was clearly limited in the play-in game against Golden State. I thought he looked really good in the 2 games he ended the regular season with, until that final tweak of the ankle. But I was told, and he said that it wasn't really a big deal. So I was a bit stunned by how limited he was against Golden State. You saw it. He couldn't finish at the rim. He could post up, back down Andrew Wiggins, and then had trouble elevating to make the shots in the paint. So that was concerning. My feeling is that it will get better over time, but he clearly will be limited, I think, in this Phoenix series, at least to some degree. Remember, he was on a 30 minute restriction. He surpassed that, and thankfully he did for the Lakers because he hit that shot. But then also you heard the broadcaster say, Frank Vogel has said before the game, the longer LeBron plays, the tighter the ankle gets. So those are all concerning if you're a Lakers fan. But the question Jen asked, will this keep him from repeating? No, because I don't care if LeBron was healthy. Brooklyn's the best team in the NBA. Now, I think, could Brooklyn beat itself? Sure. Is the chemistry just not going to be there after only 8 games together in the regular season? Will Kyrie have some type of, focus issue? Maybe. Will egos get involved? Who knows? But if Brooklyn is right, they're beating LeBron, healthy ankle or not. So to me, the question is, will it hinder LeBron from getting out of the West? I still think they beat Phoenix, assuming LeBron and AD can play every game in the series. They beat Phoenix. If they face Portland or Denver in the second round, I think they beat either of them, assuming even if LeBron's hampered to a degree. If he can play every game, I think they're better than all those teams. The team that could stop them if LeBron's hampered is the Clippers. That's it. Now, I would expect that as time goes on through the first two rounds, LeBron will be back to normal, or, he won't be hindered the way he was against Golden State. And I think that could help. The Lakers could beat the Clippers in 7. That's my pick. Lakers over Clippers in 7. But if LeBron is as he was against Golden State, I think the Clippers would beat him. So I'm sticking with the Lakers pick, assuming LeBron's going to gradually get healthier. But if I don't know what he was against Golden State, what would you guys say, 75%? That's not enough to beat the Clippers. I think it's enough to beat the other teams he has to face in the West.
Well, the mere fact that he was on a minutes restriction tells you something, because normally in the playoffs, Chris, nobody's on a minute restriction. You play as long as you need to in order to get the win. And so for him to be like, look, LeBron, we really don't want you to go very much over this, lets you know. Now, in the bubble, he played averaged a little over 36 minutes a game in the bubble. Considering when you factor in the blowouts, like, wow, he really didn't. There were some games that they blew, they ended up blowing out Portland, they blew out Houston. So there were some games that they had some blowouts in that. You're like, wow, okay. But the question is that it's not when LeBron's on the court, it's when LeBron's off the court. Because he was plus when he was on, and they were minus when he was off. They got to find a way to stem the tide, because he cannot play, I don't care healthy or not healthy. He can't play all 42 minutes, Chris. He just can't. And that's what really hurt him. If you look at when they losing to Golden State, and they might have would have still lost, but LeBron could not stay on the bench for more than a minute, because they might have a double-digit lead, and within the 40 seconds, it was down to 2, and LeBron was like, damn, I got to go back. So for me, and I agree, having had the injury that LeBron has had, I don't know if LeBron did this, but I would take an injection, Chris, and I felt good. Ooh, man, the first half, I felt like the old Shea. Midway through the third quarter, man, like somebody stuck a nail in my tire. Felt like I was running on a flat tire. And then become fourth quarter, I wanted to get another one, but I knew they weren't going to give me it. I just had to gut it out. And it seemed to me, the first half, you look at the explosion. Now, he still wasn't able to elevate, but he looked a little quick. And as the game progressed, you see, hey, Caruso, bring the ball up. Hey, bring the ball up, Schroeder. Let somebody else, Kuzma, go ahead and bring it up. He wanted to do as little as possible. So I agree with you, Chris. I would say he was like 85%. But I don't know if 85% is enough to win the title, because for the most part, everybody else, with the exception of Donovan Mitchell, is healthy.
So you got the Clippers?
No, I ain't taking them.
Well, you just said he's just not right.
Something y'all gonna get knocked out before y'all get to us.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's
what I'm counting on, Chris. That's what I'm counting on. But you know what? It'll be something else. Somebody that band got wrong. Somebody wasn't able to stay at home. The pandemic. I ain't gonna call no name, but somebody gonna have a million excuses to why the Clippers lost again.
Speaking of excuses, here we go again. I just can't take it anymore.
You gonna take it?
I've never seen anything like this. The protection of LeBron James. And look, I'm gonna say it again. I love Rich Paul. I love Maverick Carter. They are genius at what they do, and I'm going to say it again. LeBron should drop to his knees each night before he goes to sleep and thank the Lord above for those two running his world for him, because they are the best at what they do. They're also great at planning excuses for their man.
Do you believe LeBron is hurt? Yes or no? It's as simple as that. Yes or no?
Was he out there? Yes, he was out there. Did he elevate to make that lucky shot that he made? Yes, he did. He elevated just fine. It looked just fine to me. Did he not jump and shoot? Yes.
Over Steph? Really, Skip? Well, he elevated over Steph.
Well, you were the one gloating about it.
That was a big shot.
Okay.
That was a big shot.
Okay. So we all know that Rich and Maverick especially, they're masterful at using the media to plant excuses, maybe before the fact or after the fact, for LeBron. I hark back to he was sedated before games, 4, 5, and 6 against Boston that first go-around in Cleveland. Sedated because he was having a locker room issue with a teammate. Baloney! And then,
He was having a locker room issue with a teammate.
It wasn't, he didn't need sedation for
mattered.
it. Okay, stop it. and then he comes to the postgame after he gets swept by Golden State. What year was it, 2017? And he's wearing a soft cast on his hand. He said, according to Rich, I'm sure, in Maverick, that he broke it on the whiteboard after game 1 when JR lost his mind. And I thought LeBron had lost his mind because he had the last shot on Steph and he refused to take it. In the game, King, if you're the king and you're the GOAT, just in the game. So excuses are everywhere. So now we've got the one leg. He's literally on one leg, according to sources close to LeBron. One leg, does he have to use a crutch to get up the floor? He's like dragging his leg, so he needs a crutch and he can dribble with his left hand, right?
He got a cane.
Is that? Oh, he's got a cane, so he uses a cane to get up the floor. And obviously, if he pulls this off, he is the hero of heroes. He did it on one leg, and if he somehow flames out against the Phoenix Suns, CP3 has a coming out party finally against LeBron James, then it's, well, he was only, by then he'll be like 62% on his bad leg, right?
Chris, we saw what happened. He on one leg, and he got poked in the eye, so he a pirate. So he got a peg leg and a patch over his eye. But guess what? Still found a way to get to the NBA Finals.
Wow. Okay. So, Chris, I'm sorry. I can't give you 85%.
You don't, so you think he's better than 85%?
Yes, I do. I do.
I'll say this, Skip. I don't want to hear the excuses. I don't want to hear the little stuff about him being injured off the court. I want to watch and see where he is. Like, I watched that game against Golden State, and you could see he wasn't himself.
Okay, so
I don't really want to hear, because I'm like, if you're out there on the floor, then we count it.
So let me ask you a question.
Right? If you're out there on the floor, we're counting it.
Let me ask you a question. So have you ever gone to work sick? You weren't sick, you came to work. You weren't sick, you came to work.
Yes.
Oh, no, you weren't sick. You came to work. If you come to work, you weren't sick. Let's use the same argument.
Well, no, what I'll say is if I go to work and I'm sick, then I have to deliver. If I go to work and I'm sick, then I have to deliver. And that's what I'm saying for LeBron. I just don't want to hear about, we can look, let somebody else say, he clearly wasn't himself.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
He can't get up in the air.
We saying it.
But I don't want to hear LeBron or somebody else say, I'm not the same. Let somebody else say it.
Let me just ask a question. Didn't LeBron James, I, with my own eyes, I watched him take over in the second half against Golden State the other night. He took the game over. Did he not just drive it like at will to the basket?
Had a couple of and-ones, didn't get caught. Okay. Skip, you know he's not the same. When you ever known LeBron James to go all them games without a dunk? Huh? LeBron James,
he's an old man. He's getting up there.
Don't do that.
Year 18.
Don't do that, Skip.
We'll give him some break.
No, we posterize folks. We posterize folks.
Well, he was posterized in the second half, just taking him right to the
Nurkic just came back after what we did to him a couple of years ago.
Really?
He just got back.
From the dead.
Just got back.
Really?
But you know what? Okay.
He's going to have to rely on that jump. He's got to be hot from outside.
Yeah.
And he shot it well against Golden State. I know overall he didn't, but he hit the 3 ball. Not just the long with that one.
Hit one in the corner.
He had a big one from the corner.
Yep. Against Wiggins.
So he's going to have to play like his age, right? He's going to have to be savvy. He's going to have to be crafty. His passing is going to have to be on point. His timing. Because the athleticism doesn't look like it's going to be there. He's still the smartest player in the league. He's still got the best basketball IQ. Agreed. And he does have guys to share the ball with. So that's the type of LeBron we may have to see if the Lakers are going to keep advancing.
But hold on. Shannon Sharpe is already making the Schroeder excuse because all I'm hearing now, Chris, is that, Schroeder's causing dissension in the ranks. Well, okay, so now we got the Schroeder excuse planted ahead of the playoffs that how can LeBron overcome a guy who's just playing for stats and a contract?
Hey, Chris, you saw what Schroeder was doing out there, didn't you? And you see Frankie B snatch his butt up out of there. When you ever known the starting point guard not to close the game, Chris? The starting point guard was that's not Drum. I'm not talking about a big guy that can't shoot free throws. I'm talking about your starting point guard. Where else is that happening at, Chris? In the NBA, name a team that your starting point guard is not in the lineup to close the game.
I'm going to give Schroeder the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say, remember, he just came back from a few weeks off. I'm not ready to write him off for the rest of the playoffs. I get it. He's thinking about a contract and all that, which is not what you want to hear right now. But the best way for him to get the contract is to ball out.
Thank you.
And so I just think his wind is not yet there, and I think he's getting timing and everything back from the COVID protocol that he was in. So I'm not ready to write off Schroeder for the playoffs. I think he's going to come back and have
So your timing is not there, so what you want to do is go 105 and shoot your way back into it, huh? Get your timing back by taking all them bad shots.
But you think he's going to be that way every game? So you done with Schroeder?
I hope. No, I'm not done with him. I hope he. But I'm not getting what I needed to get from him. He let Steph Curry go bonkers because somehow they put a stat up talking about Schroeder is the Steph stopper. And Steph say, okay, I got something for you. And dropped a 37 bomb on him. And then all of a sudden, Schroeder was like 5 or 14.
I just hope that LeBron James can get up off his deathbed and play game 1 against Chris Paul. That's all I hope.
So
God bless you.
dramatic.
Chris,
Dramatic.
what's the biggest game that everybody still talk about to this day? And we don't know if he was sick or not.
Fair.
The flu game.
Fair enough.
Everybody, Jordan had a temperature of 137. Skip Bayless, he had the flu.
Yeah, because he was on fire.
Had Scottie Pippen out there carrying it. Like, I don't know if I can make it, Scottie. Take me to the...
We will always be talking about that one.
No mercy.
Wednesday's play-in game was the latest chapter in the ongoing rivalry between LeBron James and Steph Curry, a battle which includes 4 NBA Finals matchups. The Athletic compared their rivalry to that of another 2 iconic figures in NBA history, saying the duo is the Larry Bird and Magic Johnson of this era. The Bird-Magic rivalry started in college and went on to include 3 Finals meetings in the 80s. So, Shannon, do you agree with this comparison here?
Skip, I'm not ready to say that. I think the thing is that because, like Jenny and the Reed, Skip, we grew up with Bird and Magic. We saw them play in college, and the other had to go through the other to win the ultimate prize. They're a lot closer. And, Skip, what is this? Once the NBA tell me what this game was that we just witnessed on Wednesday night.
You won't give this up, will you?
Because I don't know. Skip, they didn't hype regular season matchups between Bird and Magic. Now, they did play twice a year. Once on Arena, once in L.A., obviously once in Boston. They didn't hype it.
Nope.
It was only the finals, and that was the only time that they really met. That was the only time. But the thing that was so incredible about this, they always had comparable teams. It was never like, oh, man, the Lakers about to run away with this thing. There was always Bird, McHale, Parrish. You always had Magic, Kareem, Worthy. Then you had DJ. You had Michael Cooper. So, Skip, the teams were really, really comparable. That's why there was like a lot of the games with 6 or 7 games, and they were so highly contested. The thing was, Skip, is that at that time in the 80s, they were really thought of as the 2 best players. So are you saying that in this generation that Steph Curry and LeBron are the 2 best players? I think you're going to get some pushback because you said there's another guy that's the best player in this generation. So
and they went all the way to the Hamptons to recruit that guy. Did they not? To say, please come save us?
How did they know he was in the Hamptons? How did they know where he was? He told them he wanted to go because he needed them as much as they needed them.
No, they recruited him. They went across the country. What did you tell me? Draymond fled into the parking lot after Game 7 and was crying.
He didn't wait to get to the car to cry.
Yep.
He cried in the parking lot. Hey, Lee, Red cried in the car. Cried in the parking lot. Yep. You ought to be ashamed of himself.
And he called KD and said, please come save us.
He called him
Yeah.
Hey, Draymond, what you crying for? You just played it. He got me. He got him.
And KD saved them with back-to-back Finals MVPs with extraordinary Game 3s in LeBron's house back-to-back.
Oh, I know that you won't say game winning. Because you say game winning, that means what he did the other night was a game winning shot.
Okay, that's all you got. Okay, back to this premise. It just doesn't work for me. In fact, it offends me because what those two on the left did for this league.
It saved the league.
It just saved the league.
It did.
It put it back on the map.
It did.
It was a lot of tape-delayed games on Friday nights where you couldn't even watch them live.
The finals were tape delayed until Magic. After Magic's first year of championship, the games started being up until this game, they were tape delayed.
I was there in 1979 at the NCAA Finals in Salt Lake City, and it revolutionized college basketball because you had a beloved young black star who was going to wind up in L.A. living large with the Lakers, Showtime.
Yep.
And you had a not-so-lovable white guy from French Lick, Indiana, who had bolted on Bobby Knight, and he'd had one incident after the other in college basketball for Indiana State. He decked a fan who ran onto the court after they beat Arkansas earlier in the regional final. And he was a tough guy, but he wasn't a nice guy.
He did the same thing when the fans ran on the court in Boston. They celebrate. You watch him. He forearm shiver somebody.
He did. So he was a bad you-know-what. But those two guys came to love each other, legit love each other. And so it was a beautiful story, and they did it on Broadway. They did a Broadway play called Magic Bird, and I went to it, and it was great because what happened between those two was great. And you did have a black-white dynamic that drove it. It was just...
And you two franchises, Skip, that basically...
L.A., Boston.
They had played each other.
Lakers, Celtics. You can't beat it.
You couldn't.
You can't. I couldn't make it up better than it was made up. And they were on equal footing because they were both legends in their own time. And it was mano a mano, back and forth, and one would win and the other would win. MVP and then MVP. Champ, champ. Back and forth. And I'm sorry, Steph, to me, is not on LeBron's level as a winner. You know, he hasn't done that. And too many times, Steph has come up even smaller than he is in huge moments in finals.
But the current thing is, Skip, and I see a lot of this, Skip, they're the only two guys with multiple MVPs and multiple titles. Nobody else can boast that. KD has multiple titles but doesn't have multiple MVPs. Giannis has multiple MVPs with no titles. Kawhi has multiple titles with no MVPs. Bird and Magic, Skip, both of them won 3 MVPs, regular season MVPs. Magic has 5 titles, Bird has 3. So when you say they were very, very comparable, they were on level playing fields, they really were on level playing fields.
So Steph doesn't yet have a finals MVP. Sure he'll ever get one. But again, in your 2016 finals, they're up 3 games to 1. And just, I dare you to go look at games 4, 5, and 6 because Steph shot his team in the foot. He has revolutionized this game with his shooting prowess from distance. I give you that. But then look at games 4 and 6 against Toronto in 2019 finals. Steph failed miserably in 2 big home games that could have made that a better series than it was. I realize Clay got hurt and KD was obviously gone.
And the thing is, Skip, is that Steph's team has always had more firepower than LeBron's. Because if you think about it, the first time they played, Kyrie got hurt in overtime and Kevin Love didn't play at all. So now basically you got LeBron, Dellavedova, and Timofey Mozgov going against Steph, Clay, and Draymond. And then the next year they win it, and then the following year they go out and get KD. So LeBron is, for the most part, and it's just like this last game, LeBron had the better team. But the Lakers, Magic and Bird, Magic could never say, man, we should be way favored. We should sweep them. That wasn't happening. And Bird was like, oh, we should sweep them. That wasn't happening because they were so comparable, not only in size and stature and play, but team. But so I can't go there, Skip. I can't.
Thank you.
I can't.
No mercy. Sunday, the best NASCAR season ever continues as the Cup Series makes its long-awaited debut at Circuit of the Americas road course in Austin, Texas. The green flag drops at 2:30 Eastern only on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Russell Westbrook finished this season averaging a triple-double for the 4th time in just the past 5 seasons. Last night, he led the Wizards to a big win over the Pacers to claim the 8th seed. But after the game, it was triple-double talk that Kenny Smith was more interested in. Take a listen.
I had a conversation over the weekend with Michael Jordan, and we were debating what's the hardest part of getting the triple-double for Russell Westbrook. What would be the hardest part of getting the triple-double?
The hardest part is probably what you can't control is the assist. I can't control.
That's what he said.
I can't control if guys make shots, but I can make it easy for them. But I can't control if they score it or not. But I can rebound on my own. I can score on my own. But I can't control if guys make shots or not.
Great. Love it. Love it. Shannon, which do you think is the hardest for Westbrook to achieve in a triple-double? Points, rebounds, or assists?
That's my first time hearing him say that. I would have said the rebounds because he's a 6'3" guard. And normally guards have a hard time rebounding, Skip, because the big guys gobble up all the rebounds. Russ finished in the top 10 in rebounding, Skip, and he's the only guy that's shorter than 6'10". Capella, Gobert, Valanciunas, Sabonis, Vucevic.
That's just impossible.
Yes!
You can't do that, and he does it.
No other time in the history of the game, other than Russ, has a guy finished in the top 10 in rebounding that wasn't a big. He's in the top 10 in rebounding at 6'3". All the other guys are 6'10" or above.
Yet he didn't even hesitate. Assists. I can't control if they make the shot.
Right.
I can make it easy, but they got to make the shot.
Yeah, and when I heard, it's like, okay, it all depends on who the guy is. If it's a big, I'm thinking it's an assist because you're not going to pass. They're not very proficient at passing the ball, Skip. Obviously, getting rebounds, you're big, you're right there up under the basket. Scoring, you can score. But now that Russ said it, I can see why he would say assist because he's absolutely right. I throw you a pocket pass and you blow the layup, there goes my assist. But Skip, still to get 10 rebounds at 6'3", you got to do a lot of chasing. Because, like I said, Skip, it's not like the balls are coming right there to him. You got to go hunt rebounds. Rebound is desire. And so I thought it was going to be, I thought they would say rebounds. But now that he mentioned assists, I can see why he says that because, like he said, hell, I can do everything but put the ball in the hoop for him.
So you just got won over by the greatest player who ever played, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. You say he was right about this.
He was right. I think Kenny was thinking rebounds also.
Well, he was. Well, that was the debate with Michael Jordan.
Right.
So who am I to disagree with the greatest player ever? But I'm going to disagree. I'm sorry. I was with your original instinct.
Rebounds?
It's got to be rebounds. I can back it up with numbers. Would you believe that 94 times in Russ's career, he's recorded a double-double in which assists cost him the triple?
Right.
170 times he's recorded a double-double in which the rebounds cost him the triple-double.
Wow.
So 94 times, it'd be 9 or fewer assists. 170 times, 9 or fewer rebounds.
Wow.
Okay? So it's screaming at you. The numbers scream. It's the rebounds.
Right.
He's 6'3".
Right.
You can't ask him to get 10 plus every night. I mean, that requires actually a little luck to me. Don't you have to get some good bounces?
Yeah, Skip, here's the thing. Russ averaged a double-double in points and assists in 2015. It wasn't until the following season his rebounds jumped from 7 to 10.
And why was that? Because he started concentrating, and also he started saying on free throws, I'm going to go inside.
Right, I'm gonna be one of the big guys out there because prior to Russ, I had really never seen a point guard at the line.
Okay.
Trying to get rebounds. I've never seen it.
Okay, but in most teams' circumstances, the point guard gets back on defense, right? So when the shot goes up, you should start to go back.
Right.
He goes forward.
He's already on the line. He's not going forward, Skip. He's on the line. He's like, I'm going to get me a rebound.
Okay.
And the effort, Skip, rebound is all about effort.
It is.
And for him to exert that kind of energy on a nightly basis, Skip, and assist, a lot of times, Skip, he's just dropping it off, and there's Lopez just laid it up. Steven Adams was the beneficiary of a lot of those dump-offs where he just laying the ball up and dunking it.
Ennis Cantor before him.
Right.
Because you're just giving him a dunk,
you're good.
Right?
But to chase down and get those rebounds, Skip, that's a lot. But, you know, he said, I mean, he was quick with it. He's like, assist.
He didn't even pause.
He didn't even hesitate.
Oh, I love it. That was a great question. And, you know, MJ, he's got to know, right?
No mercy.
If the Lakers get by the Suns in the first round, they'll get the winner of the Blazers-Nuggets series. Game 1 of that matchup tips off tomorrow. We'll feature the likely MVP, Nikola Jokic, against Portland superstar Damian Lillard. And Denver won 2 out of the 3 meetings this season. So, Shannon, who wins this series, Blazers or Nuggets?
Yeah, this might be the most compelling first-round matchup.
Yep.
I got to go in 7. I'm going to take the Nuggets in 7, but I'm not going to be shocked if the Blazers won this game, Skip, because they got Dame and CJ that we know can go get 30.
Yep.
The key to this series is going to be MPJ, Michael Porter Jr.
Yep.
Jamal Murray's out, and he's in the running for most improved. Can he go get the 20, 24 points a night, because I know what Yoke's going to give me. Yoke's going to give me 28, somewhere 10, 12 rebounds, 8, 9 assists.
Yep.
I know what I'm going to get from him. If MPG J comes to play, I like the Blazers, the Nuggets in 7.
The Blazers are the hottest team in the NBA, 10 of the last 12. I got Portland in 6 over Denver, and then I'm starting to think I got Portland in 7 over the lower-seeded Lakers.
We got to do on this one?
We're not there yet. We got to see who gets out.
I'm talking about the Nuggets. I'm talking about the Nuggets.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do a case.
All right.
I'll do a case. I got Portland. Dame, he won't be Dame Penny anymore. I need Dame Dollar.
You are going.
And I got it.
I got Yoke. I got the MVP.
Do you?
I got the MVP this year.
I'll give you that, but he ain't going to be now.
Okay, well, Skip, Shannon, have a great weekend. I know exactly what you guys are going to be doing, sitting on your couch watching every single playoff game. You better believe we're going to have a lot to say and talk about on Monday. That's when Undisputed is back. The Herd is on right now. Enjoy the weekend.